Hello everyone, it's me, Mick Cooper, 51 years old from Sheffield in the UK, joined today by my cat Charlie. Charlie, say hello. No? Okay. Anyway, it has been 7 days since I had the gastric sleeve surgery. It's about 9 or 10 days since the last video, and a lot has happened. As ever, if you do enjoy these videos, and you like Charlie, he gets more likes than I do, click on the subscribe button, leave me a like, leave me a comment. All your comments are great. All your messages that I've been receiving have been great. There's a lot to go through, so let's crack on. So, as I said, there's a lot to get through. Um, so we'll start way back on the day before I had my gastric sleeve. I was a bag of nerves. I mean, really, really, my guts were churning. I was panicking. I didn't sleep. I think I had about an hour's sleep on that night before surgery. Did go to a fantastic support group that are for people that have, obesity, gastric surgery, things like that. If you're having it done, you'll get a referral to that group. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to post that link or not. I'll check with them. If I am, I'll do it in future videos. But I went there, asked a lot of questions. The support I've had from them has been amazing. So it did ease me a little bit. But nonetheless, I didn't sleep much. So on the morning of the surgery, I was knackered. I mean, really, really knackered. I wasn't allowed to eat from midnight. I wasn't allowed to drink anything. I think it was 5:30 in the morning. Um, I took my medication that I was still on at the time before I went up to Leeds. I took that about 5:30 with a drink of water. There's a story behind that as well. Um, my mate Wayne, he picked me up, took me up to Leeds, dropped me off at Spire Hospital, Leeds, and that was that. I think he was the perfect person to take me really because he took my mind off things. We didn't talk about the procedure. I didn't have really that much of a chance to bawl my eyes out, which is what I was feeling. I was like just so nervous. We put the world to rights and we chilled out and it was good. So cheers, pal. Fantastic. So I got to the hospital. A lovely lady took me up to my room and had a chat with me. She relaxed me a little bit more. By the time I got in the hospital, my nerves seemed to have gone. Um, Went up to my room and found out that I was second on the list, which in hindsight was a godsend because the tablets that I'd taken at 5:30 had started to have the effects. Now, one of the tablets is metformin, and metformin is there for controlling blood sugar. And I've been on that for about a month beforehand because my blood sugar had started to rise. And on the morning of the surgery, you are supposed to take it with food. You're not supposed to take it on an empty stomach, and that is exactly what I'd got. Um, and unfortunately, it gave me really bad diarrhea for maybe an hour and a half, and then it stopped. Now, if I'd have been on the first list, I think there would have been a possibility that the surgery may have been cancelled. Because I was second down, my stomach had a chance to settle, and I just sat in my room in my sexy stockings and my hospital gown, waiting to go down. I met my surgeon, I met the nurses, I met my anaesthetist. All of them put my mind at rest, calmed me down. My anaesthetist basically said the anaesthetic will just be in two parts. The first part will make you feel a little bit drunk. If you, I said, well, I don't drink, and he went, well, it'll make you feel a little bit dizzy, a little bit woozy. So he says, in the second one, it will knock you out, and the next thing you know, you'll be waking up in recovery, and that'll be it. And that's exactly what happened. So there's nothing more I can tell you about before the surgery. So we're going to move on to the post surgery and the experience that I had in Spire Hospital, Leeds. So I guess it's like any surgery that you have. When you wake up from surgery, you feel a bit groggy, and that's expected. So from recovery, I was taken to what in NHS terms is high dependency, where you've got nurses that will come and check you every 15 minutes, check your blood sugars, check your blood pressure, just make sure that everything is as it should be at this stage of recovery. And that's exactly what I got. You know, there was only me and two other people in this particular unit. I had an entire half of the ward to myself, and there were two ladies in the other half. Um, and for the first hour, maybe I was pretty much out of it, and then I was my usual chatty, probably too chatty self, cracking a few jokes. Um, and I think part of it was down to relief, and the other part was down to the fact that um, I'd not got any pain as such. I was on quite strong painkillers. The gas was starting to ache a little bit just across my stomach, just here, and it had started to lift up into my shoulder area. So, and then it had gone round my back and down towards my kidneys. But it was being managed by pain relief. So it was only when the pain relief was reduced later that day from really, really heavy stuff to like IV paracetamol that they were giving me. Um, it was, it was a bit dodgy. But as soon as I was able to get out of bed, and the only reason I got out of bed was to go for a wee. Basically, I was swiveled on my bed, and a couple of nurses helped me to stand. I used a little bottle, and when I got up, the gas started to move around, and they kept saying to me, "Move your arms around," even though at the moment we don't want you to walk. Move. So I'm doing this. It's like doing the funky chicken, I suppose. And that made the gas move, and that made me start to burp or belch or whatever you call it wherever you're from, and that helped a bit. So that wave of gas went, and then another wave of gas filled that little pocket that I'd had before, and the pain was still there. So I was in discomfort. I wouldn't say I was in agony. I've not been in agony at all during this procedure. The wound area, that was all dressed and cleaned. There were 5 holes where they'd gone in with the laparoscopic equipment, and everything had gone to plan. According to the nurses, they were shocked to see me back on high dependency so quickly, because normally the surgery takes about 2 hours, maybe a bit longer. Mine took an hour. Now, whether that's down to my liver being nicely shrunken as it should be, or whether it was just an easy procedure, I don't know. What I do know is I found out that the liver reduction diet that I'd been on for 3 weeks prior had not only shrunk my liver, I'd lost a serious amount of weight. In that 3 week period, I'd lost 12.8 kilos, which is 48 pound, which is a phenomenal weight loss, really, considering my stomach was still a big stomach rather than what I've got now, which is a little tiny thing. So I was happy with that, and they were happy with that, and I think that I'd done everything I could to get me as fit as I possibly could be for the surgery. So post surgery, there were 2 concerns they got. The first one was my blood pressure. It wasn't too high, it was too low. I was getting a top reading of 89, 90, and I can't remember the bottom reading, but my blood oxygen levels were a little low. But it turns out, first of all, I had a mask on, okay? As soon as he took that mask off and put the little nose breathy thing, my blood oxygen level was dropping, and it's now official that I am a mouth breather. I don't breathe in through my nose, I breathe in and out through my mouth. Well, it's big enough, so, it's not a problem. So the blood pressure was an issue, and they kept monitoring my blood sugar, because as you remember, prior to me having this surgery done, my blood sugar had gone crazy up to about 11 and a half, 12, and it had come down with the liver reduction diet and the metformin. I'd got it down to pre-surgery about 7.4, which was good enough. It had continued to drop, and they were still giving me the metformin, but they'd been given an instruction to stop that and to see if my blood sugar would stabilize. And 7 days in, my blood sugar is stabilized now at 4.5, which is, it's amazing. It's somewhat of a miracle, because it's not been 4.5 for years and years. So there I was in high dependency. The nursing staff were phenomenal. Everyone that came in, amazing. They couldn't do enough for you. I had them laughing. If I'm up and I'm breathing, I'm smiling. You know what I mean? I don't like to sit and get upset, and I don't like to feel sorry for myself. I like to get up and go and have a bit of banter with people. So that's what we did. The night shift were great, and then the next day they moved me from high dependency back to my room. The only issue that we had when we did that, to start with, they wanted me to stay on certain tablets, and because I wasn't able to take a full-size tablet, I had to crush it down using a tablet crusher and have it in water. And to be honest, they made me feel really ill. So if you're having this done, see if there is a liquid version of any medication that you're on, and ask them if they'll give you that. I mean, I just said, yeah, whatever, stick it in water, I'll drink it. And it was vile, and I had to have some anti-sickness medication for that. But that sorted that all out. So next bit is when I got back to my own room. Little interjection from the first bit before all you mathematicians start throwing stones at me. I said I'd lost 12.8 kilos, which is 48 pounds, which is bullshit. I lost 12.8 kilos, which is 28 pounds, which in English money is 2 stones. I thank you. Carry on with the rest of the video. I had an afternoon, an evening in my own room, overnight. Yeah, not a problem. Next morning, my surgeon that had been out to see me, after the surgery, the day after the surgery, and the day that they were intending to release me, he was thrilled. Everything had gone as it should do. The dietitian came in. She was thrilled. I'd done everything that I needed to do prior to the surgery. So she was happy for me to be released. I've got all my medication being sorted out. There's things that I have to take now. Instead of having one multivitamin a day, I take 2 multivitamins a day. I take 2 Adcal D3, I think it's called, per day. I have to take them, and they gave me things like laxatives. I now have to take a blood thinner for the first 28 days, which I have to inject in my belly, which is not a problem. It's a small price to pay for what I've gone through. Do you know, I felt so well in hospital that I didn't feel like I'd had surgery. The gas feeling had gone. I'd had an evening and a night of burping and drinking peppermint tea. Now, talking of peppermint tea, I always said on this channel that I would not plug a product unless I really, really rated it. So in hospital, they had some peppermint tea bags, which were great. I think they were Typhoo or PG Tips or something like that. This is called T2 Tummy Tea, and they're an Australian company, and I've had teas from these because I do like fruit tisane tea, or tisane, I don't know how you pronounce it. They do this tea, and it's a really strong peppermint tea, and my goodness, it settles your stomach, it gets rid of any gas. It's wonderful stuff. So I started using that when I got home. On the day that I was released, see, I'm waffling, I'm going off at tangents. My mate Dawn, the other half of Dawn and Wayne, she came up, appeared like a vision at my door with a cup of hot chocolate that she'd blagged on the way in because it's free tea and coffee and shit like that in private hospitals. She walks in and she went, "All right, mate." She's from Southend. I make it sound like she's a Cockney, but she's from Southend. Um, we waited about maybe half an hour. They got all my meds together. We got in the car and we came home. On the way home, thanks to Dawn driving like a bloke, a man, wherever you are in the world, she managed to avoid us being in a really, really bad car accident. We were coming off a roundabout and a DHL HGV lorry with a huge trailer on the back basically swerved in front of us, didn't see us, and could have took us out. But because Dawn drives somewhere between Stirling Moss and somebody who's just stole a car and taking it without consent, she managed to do a manoeuvre and get us out of the way. A few choice words and hand gestures were exchanged, and we got home. And that's the next bit when I got home. There I was, back home, reunited with my lovely cat, who you briefly met earlier. Um, I was relieved that it was all over. I was relieved that I wasn't in pain and in any sort of major discomfort. And then reality hit about the food. You know, for the first day, I was literally just on fluids given to me by an IV drip. So I didn't have any water. I just had like these little things to moisten my mouth up. On the second day, I was basically on water, and then I was allowed a peppermint tea. On the third day, I was allowed to have a yogurt for my breakfast. I only managed a little tiny bit, and I was just still drinking lots of water, and I was still drinking peppermint tea and things like that. When I got home, it was all down to me. You know, you can prepare as much as you want. You can do all your um, meals like I've done, and you can do this, you can do that. But reality, your stomach tells you what you can and can't eat. So for the first 1 to 2 weeks, my surgery team decided that I needed to be on a liquid only diet. Now your team, if you're having it done, might decide you can go straight on pureed. But for me, it was liquid only for as long as it takes. So I would make sure that I drank 2 litres of water every day. Sometimes I've had to force that down because you can only take little tiny sips. Um, Food wise, the only food you can have is like liquid food. So I've got these protein shakes, about 25 grams of protein in them. I think they're called UFit or something like that. I'll show you that. I'm going to do a little video after I've done this one and post it separately about what I've been eating. But I've had protein shakes. I made some watered down fresh soups. You know, the ones you can buy in supermarkets that got bits of vegetables and pulses and things like that in. That all was liquidized down, watered down, and then mixed with milk powder. Something you need to know, folks, after these surgeries is you need to get as much protein in as possible. From day one, ideally, although they do say that hydration is the main thing. So for protein, I was told to buy milk powder, Marvel milk powder in the UK. I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but they told me to buy Marvel, and for every pint that you make up, put 2 or 3 tablespoons of Marvel in with it. Mix it up. I put it in a blender just to make sure it was nicely done with no lumps. It makes your tea a little bit creamy, but if you buy stuff like Options hot chocolate and mix that with it, you get a lovely creamy hot chocolate drink. So that is all good. Food wise, do you know what? There's kind of a split with people that's had this surgery. Some people after surgery are craving food. They're really wanting food and they can't have it. Whereas others, they're not craving food. And I'm one of those. I've gone from having a lifetime of always overeating, always wanting more than what my body needs, and now I've almost got a disassociation with food. I have to remind myself when to eat. So like I put a an alarm on my phone saying lunchtime, breakfast time, whatever. You know, you must eat something. But I'm going to go into my eating plan a little bit more in future videos. So at home, I've been fine, no pain. First day that I got home, I went on this support group, and they were all pleased to see me. I managed to buddy up with someone um, on that support group, and we've been in touch. And she's had different experiences to me, and it's amazing that we've had the same surgery, but we're having completely different aftercare and different reactions to food and things like that. So the next bit I'm going to talk about is where I am now. It's like day 7, so I'll give you a brief recap of the last few days. I was told, that was a deep breath, wasn't it? I was told that the main thing to accompany your um, reduction in food, because at the moment I'm literally only having maybe between 100 and 400 calories a day. It's probably up to about 3 or 400 calories a day. Unlike the liver shrinkage diet, liver reduction diet, whatever you want to call it, I'm not feeling hungry. So they told me that the main things to do were keep hydrated, force yourself to drink 2 litres of water. And that is hard sometimes, you know, because your tummy is small and your water initially goes into your tummy and then it spreads around your body and does all sorts of exciting things. I'm no scientist. It hydrates you. So um, I'm making my hydration a priority, and then the nutritional part of things, I'll do that on this other video. Um, but the other thing that they told me is exercise is key to continued weight loss, or maintaining your weight loss once you get to your body's natural target. So the first day back, it absolutely pissed it down with rain, and there was no way on this earth that I was going to go out. There's no way. I wasn't confident enough. I was worried about slipping, so I didn't do anything on the first day back. My first day outside, I walked 3,000 steps, which is not a great deal, because even though I was a big lad, I'd got a decent fitness level for my size. I'd got good cardio, but at the moment, all I can do is walk. So first day, 3,000 steps. It tired me, but I expected that. The second day, I managed to double that to 6,000 steps, which I was happy with. This is all on fairly flat um, sort of areas that I were walking. You know, there were no hills and stuff. And then yesterday I went for a walk, and I probably did about 7,500 steps. I sort of included some inclines, which got my heart rate up, and I felt great. You know, when I came back, I wasn't overtired. Just felt like I'd had a decent walk. So today I'll go and I'll try and get it up to 9,000 steps, and then ultimately my aim before I return to the gym is to consistently hit 10,000 steps a day. Um, it helps if you go out and you've got some good music. So if you're not big on walking, if you want to go out and you get some music on, it does motivate you to move. Um, so apart from that, everything has been great. You know, I can't believe that I've had surgery. That's what I said last night in this support group, because we meet on a Wednesday night and a Sunday night. I can't believe that I've had surgery. My wounds have just about healed up. I'll show you. I'm not bothered. So if you're squeamish, turn away. But there's nothing bad to see. You see? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So there's the fifth. This is mirrored, so it's difficult. There it is. So there's 5 There's 5 holes. One of those holes had a drain in it to drain any fluid out, but they've all healed up. I don't need dressings on them now. I can shower, I can wash them, whatever. You know, no pain. So there's 2 more sections, and the next section will make you laugh. It might make you cringe, but this has been my only problem with this operation, and apparently it's common, but just watch, okay? As I've said, there's been no major pain problems, and there hasn't. Even what I'm going to talk about now hasn't caused me any pain. However, I'm on a liquid diet, but that does not stop your body producing poo. Gotta say the word, I can't use excretia or anything like that. It's poo, shit, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, due to the nature of the surgery and the medication that I was on in hospital, and the fact that I'm not getting a lot of fibre. You don't get a lot of fibre by drinking liquids. Things got a little bit backlogged, as in, I can't poo. And it wasn't just for a day or so, for a week. And I tried everything. Oh God, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but I said I would do the warts and all. I tried the laxatives, Movicol or Movicol or whatever they call it. I tried that 1 sachet a day to start with. Nothing. Nothing. Forget about it. Then 2 sachets. Nothing. Not even moved it. Then I went into the realms of suppositories. The first one, I didn't quite hit the mark, and all I shat out with was the suppository. The second one, it got in, it stayed in, and it did note. It just did note. Nothing came. Well, that came out and a little bit of curly whirly. Sorry. So then I had to really give some serious research and ask a few questions. And the Movicol, there's a different way that you can approach it. You can take it 3 times a day, which I did for 2 days. And thank this morning I have mostly been shitting, you know. I can laugh about it now, but even though I didn't have pain, my God, it was so uncomfortable. So yes, the train has left the station. The tunnel is unblocked. Whoop whoop. And that's enough of that. But I tell you what, be prepared, folks, if you have this surgery. Don't wait for the poo to back up. Be proactive with the laxatives that are given to you and do what they tell you to do. The team that you're with will suggest what to do. So yeah, enough talking shit. The last bit coming up, I promise. Have you all stopped laughing about the previous one? Because it was fun to do. The last bit is just me saying thank you to you guys that have sent messages on WhatsApp and Facebook and comments and stuff like that. Dawn and Wayne for being Dawn and Wayne. I did have an afternoon round with them after I'd had my surgery, and that sort of booked my ideas up, and we had a good laugh and put world to rights. And I know they're always at the end of a phone, and you couldn't wish for better friends. I'm sure Dawn will be commenting on this shirt. She normally says, smashing blouse. And, you know, what I'm doing at the moment is because the clothes that I were in prior to surgery were getting a little bit loose. Well, then after surgery, I've obviously lost some more weight. I don't know how much, because I intend not to get weighed until my 6 weekly appointment. It's something to look forward to, the scales. You know, I'm very focused on things. So yeah, smashing blouse, Dawn. Um, Everything is wonderful, folks. Do I have any regrets? On the surgery, absolutely 100% no. On the bowel movements, I should have acted earlier, but everything is tickety boo. I do regret not having this surgery possibly 20 years ago, because 20 years ago I'd tried just about every diet there was, and I'd had some amazing losses and I'd had gains. And I'm not going to disrespect the people that I made friends with at the various slimming groups that I've attended, because for many people, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all these other groups, I can't think of any others at the moment, Cambridge Diet, for example, they work for most people. I'm not most people. I have got a food addiction. I have done that many different things with losing huge amounts, gaining huge amounts, and that long term is not good for my health. I had to make a decision at 51 to use money and go private, or go through the NHS process, which can take up to, I believe, 4 years. So if you're in your 30s, it's your choice. I mean, I'm just giving you an option here. If you're in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, and you think your weight is out of control, despite you trying everything, don't go into it without doing your own research. But give this serious thought. Make some enquiries. Talk to other people that have had it done. Talk to me if you want. Drop me a message. I don't think I would have lasted 4 years, 5 years waiting. That's why I went private. I'm a big advocate of the NHS. I think, you know, maybe it's a bit broken, maybe it's a lot broken, but I chose to go private because I didn't see any other options. But there is a wonderful weight management program within the NHS where you go through different tiers. You speak to dietitians, psychologists, you speak to your surgeons, and you wait. You're basically placed on a waiting list, and your priorities. It depends where you are in the country, unfortunately, and you'll get the surgery on the NHS. I'm not saying to everyone that's overweight to go and have this surgery. That's not the thing. If you're overweight, join Slimming World, join Weight Watchers, go to a gym, and if you keep it off, wonderful. But if you keep doing that up and down, up and down, up and down, maybe give it thought. When you get to my size, near enough 23 stone, which is £330 or whatever it is in American money, that's the sort of thing that kills people. And that is what I was sort of faced with. The awful reality that I might not last much longer. So I've done everything other than sell a kidney to fund this operation. I am not a wealthy man, you know. I've had help from family member, but that's it, you know. So look into it, consider the NHS route, but don't just give up on your slimming groups. But if it's becoming too much and you're just getting back to where you were, give it some thought. I'm going to sign off now. I've talked enough. I'm going to go for my walk. I'll be posting a video possibly later or tomorrow on what I've eaten for the first week. I intend to be moving on to pureed foods either tomorrow or the day after. We shall see, and I'll let you know how I go with that because it is quite a change from the liquids. So until then, be seeing you.